Morning, folks. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to another Wealth Coffee Chat. Good to see a few of you up and at it this morning. Hey, Alex. Good to see you, mate. Thanks for joining, as always. Luke is in the house. Luke, mate. Aaron's here today. Aaron, g'day, mate. How are you? James. Yeah, mate. She was a bit of a whirlwind tour with the young fella. Next time I'm in Townsville, I'll be coming up to Townsville again soon. I know if there's a few of you up there, actually. That would have been next time, brother. Next time, for sure. Cash all the way from Canberra. Good morning, mate. Good to see you. Marcus here too. We've got Iron Jaw, eh? In the house. Good morning. Jeff, mate, how are you? Tuning up your income, Jeff, at the casino. It can go both ways, brother. Watch out. All right, good to see you, mate. Good to see you here this morning. Hey, folks. Welcome to another Wealth Coffee Chat. As always, I'll do the little sort of intros and warm-ups as we're getting going. Jason Witten's my name. Most of you know that. If you don't, hello. Good morning. Welcome to the show. And if you're new, say a quick hello on the chat. Let us know where you are, what you're up to. We do this every morning. Around about 10 past 8, we have a quick conversation, a coffee chat about what's going on in the world of property, in and around, creating some financial freedom in the future. What does it look like? So today I thought we might talk about something that's pretty interesting out there. I've been looking at this for a little while. I just read a book recently. I think I told you guys about this one, Die with Zero. Quite an interesting book about managing to manage your dollars and cents a bit earlier than you might expect. But today I thought we might talk about a little something that is probably worth understanding. We're all buying and acquiring some assets, but how many do we need? What do we need? What's the go? How long is the average person living? And what would be the mechanism, the mechanics of, having a good life while in retirement? Now, I don't like the word retirement, but we'll just use it because it's commonly accepted as a description. But let's have a bit of a look at what's going on there today. And, I was having a look at a bit of these. Let's go in there. Actually, here we go. We'll do this. An interesting bit of statistic that came out just recently showing a few forecasts about life expectancy. The average Aussie, female and male, their life expectancy's risen. Which is good news, to 85 and 81 years old. And, by and large around the world, life expectancy is rising. What does that mean to us, folks? What does that mean? Well, it's an interesting thing. Here we are in sort of 2023 and into the future that most of us will live a lot longer. That's the trajectory with the medical and, general life expectancy around the world. But what's the big question? A buddy of mine, Marcus Pierce, and you guys may have heard or seen Marcus in the past. What's the big question? Maybe what's the big question on everyone's mind? Well, it should be anyway. If we're going to live longer, the idea that, we're getting more time, certainly, Tim, longer time to live, longer time to ponder our navel. So we're getting more time, folks. But what as well, or what will, I'm trying not to give the answer away here with the question, what would we prefer with that time? We get more time because, medical advances, technological advances, lifestyle advances, those sorts of things. But what do we need? What do we want that time? Health. Yeah, absolutely. So with time, we want it to have quality, whatever that might be, and to have a quality of life with more options and self-care, folks. Most people would agree. Tell me if you think different in the chat. You're going to need some dollars. You're going to need some dollars to make sure that not only do you now have a longer life, but the quality of that life, the quality and options and, the quality and options are there for us as individuals. And, the drill. You guys know and understand what this show is all about. It's the idea of having some assets that can increase the quality and the capacity of your life and wealth. Interesting times. Here's an interesting stat, like 25% of the Australian population have no super. Now, that's an interesting one because as, super was introduced, I think it was introduced in the 80s or something, or 90s. Anyway, it's only been around for a little while. My parents was only around for maybe half of their working life or less, right? Let's say for you and I, for me, super's been around ever since I've been working. And so on. So it's interesting when we have a look at life expectancy, who's going to pay for what's going on. A retiree in 2015, on average, will live 50% longer than someone who retired in 1947. And if we have a look at this, the average super balances for people, between the ages of 55 and 64, men 322, women 180. That's not a lot of dough, let's face it, when it comes to how long we might live. Because if you have a look at, this here when it comes to, all right, we might be 84 years old. This is the world of, I love this one. You're a child and then we're adolescents for longer. There's another conversation. But anyway, adolescents for longer, adults for less time. But here's the drill. Here's the thing that we're looking at. If we're calling this, lifestyle between the ages of sort of 55 and 65, this time frame here, call it 25 years, folks, or 20 years. Right? That's 20 years of retired and old. Maybe, if you add in that 10 years, you've got 30 years of something going on when it comes to your dollars and cents, something coming on with your, yeah, that's true. Something going on when it comes to our time frames here. What are we going to do? Like, what do we need? What's the dollars and cents when it comes to, what do we need? There's a lot going on, in the early days, I call this acquisition phase. You guys know the drill. This is where, you consolidate, and this is where we have the lifestyle. There's a lot of things happening. This is just a quick graphic, showing, when and what we might do. But, what are the dollars and cents we're going to need for traveling through here and landing at the lifestyle phase? Across the world, the general conversation is that most savings retirements are short on average in Australia, 9 years short. The savings run out, the dollars and cents run out, the financial capacity runs out 9 years before we kick the bucket on average in Australia. It sounds like a morbid conversation, really, but it's not. This is a good conversation, I think, in reality, that most of us should go ahead and think about, all right, well, what does it take? And you'd be surprised. I'm going to show you some things in a second. It's not, it doesn't seem to take as much as you think, but to get all the malarkey about it, then, take a bit of focus and understanding. Good book indeed, Alison. Book indeed. What are the things that we want when we're, looking at lifestyle and retirement and those sorts of things? Well, here's the drill. Most people want to travel. They want holidays. Tell me in the chat, what do you want? Okay, I want to have good holidays. 1 or 2 good holidays a year. A bit older, we're not that excited to be endlessly traveling without a location, a home base. Most of us, but a couple of good holidays. Want to eat out regularly with some friends. Have a good time. A nice car, whatever that might be. I love this one. Drinking. We want to go drinking. That's by and large. Bottled wine, exclusive or sell the door. Well, I don't know about you. As long as you have, a good enough drink. Designer brand clothing. All right. No problem. Haircuts, regular haircuts. I need to get a haircut. That's what I do. Leisure, go to the cool things in life. Concerts. All right. My family and I love going to musicals. It's a thing that we all share our passions with. Yep. For sure. That is for sure. Yeah, and help out your kids as well. I mean, it doesn't even have this on this list here, interestingly enough. Electronic equipment. Yeah, I'm down with that. I love the latest Apple gear. I'm a bit obsessed with Apple. Home repairs, make sure where you live. Because it's interesting, most of us at the ages between sort of 55 and 65, most Aussies that aren't investing Aussies, where are the two places that they have the majority of their wealth, folks? Chuck that in the chat for me. Most Aussies that aren't investing have wealth in two places, let's say at age 60. Where are the two places they have their wealth? The majority, nearly, anyway, it would be 100% of their wealth outside their jobs. Where are the two places their wealth is? Their home and their super. Exactly, Tim. Now, let me tell you, at age 55, you can't get access to your super. And at age 55, if you've spent, let's say, 20 years or 30 years paying your home off, right? Yep, PPR. And most people, quite like it. So they're not selling their homes. They don't have access to their super. So I call them the poor little rich people, which is often they've got not that much debt. They've got a lot of equity. They don't understand the concept of, using their property to invest elsewhere. So they can't access their own equity in their own home to fund some lifestyle activity. And they can't access their super. So they sort of sit around or get stuck that 55 to 65 where people say, I'd like to do some stuff now. And then they get to 65. Well, okay, you get access to your super. It might be a couple of $100,000. It's not a lot. And then, are you going to downsize and sell your house? Well, most people don't want to do that. They've got a good location. So, it's interesting. Medical costs, private healthcare, the income needed, folks. The income needed to do that, is interesting. And you guys, we've done a version of this once or twice before, but, you need 150 to 200K to have that per annum, as you go. Lump sum at retirement. So let's just do this calculation. Let's say, let's say let's say worst case scenario, 65 to 85, right? That's 20 years. Everyone cool with that? Now, and let's say, a good scenario, and this is kind of like general, but let's just do this in general terms. 55 to 85. So what does it take? What does it look like? Well, this is what it's saying, right? If you wanted, 100 grand a year, and let's do 200 grand a year. 200 grand a year times 20. What does that give us, folks? Okay. Depending on how this money comes out, right? It could be in the form of income plus some asset sales or whatever it might be. And you go 30 times 200 is 6 million, right? Okay, 6 million in just cash. That's not considering the income from it. So it's probably a bit less. You're probably just right. So anyway, if we have a look, anywhere between, 2.5 to $6 million. All right, there we go. That's the numbers. And for a bit less, you might need for less a comfortable or a modest, you might need a bit less. So what does it take? What does it look like when it comes to the assets? And let's bring up our trusty calculator because I like this. Let's get nitty gritty. Let's get real on property investing and what we can do. So you guys have seen this before. You should grab it if you don't have it. But this is our passive income wealth calculator, right? So let's go. Can we achieve that as property investors? Well, you can. You can. And I think this is pretty interesting. I like this. So I'm 50 years old. In 15 years' time, I want to achieve something. I've got a principal place of residence. I've got a loan against it. I've got an income. I've probably got sort of a good 8-10 years worth of income in front of me. What can I do? Let's buy a couple of investment properties. Investment property number one, investment property number two. Fabulous. Now, if I just let that be, if I just say, right, I've got my home plus a couple of investment properties, where do I end up in 15 years' time? Well, with some growth, I've only put in there 5%, a little bit of income growth as well. What happens? My properties here go into principal and interest payments. I've just put the average 5.5, but we can do some more, some less, but that's an average over 20 years or 30 years. So let's have a look. My market value of my properties, $4.5 million. My equity, $3.5 million. I've got a debt of only $1 million at 15 years. In 15 years, am I getting there? Yeah, looks good. But my passive income is low, 16. Like that's my net income after my expenses. So what can I do? What do I do here? As we go. Well, tell me in the chat, what's one thing you could do here, folks? If the goal was to just make sure you could fund a comfortable lifestyle or retirement. Tell me one thing. What's one thing you could do? Put that in the chat for me. Now I'm going to go down here and I'm going to go, all right, well, I've got an average super. It's 200 grand. There's a $10,000 contribution each year. The growth of my super, I'm going to put that as 5%. And my income at 4%. I'll put that as 5% as well. What does that do? At 65, I could tap into some of my super, depending on how you do that, whatever that looks like. As we go, you could sell one of those properties and take $1 million and fund it. Or we could continue and go, all right, let's buy an extra property. If you could buy 3, fabulous. Why not? And so when we go back to, how much do we need when it comes to our assets and our asset value, folks, check out, this is why we end up at sort of a certain number, right? A certain number, as we've talked about in the past. We go, all right, well, let's go back to our little, all right, a lifestyle that we were hoping to achieve, $2 to $3 million, $100 to $200,000. What does that take up here when it comes to our equity, our property value? Because once we have the equity, folks, up this way, that's $6 million of equity there at 5% growth. even if we took one property out of there and just say, all right, it's just 4, right? 5 million, right? Mortgage balance of 2 million, market value 7. You have choices, team, folks. Ta-da. Ta-da. There it is. Anyway, that's the way I see it. I see it really simple. Most of us, if we have a runway of 15-ish years and an income to go with it, a good income, a consistent income, and some equity to start with, we can easily achieve that affluent lifestyle outcome if we have a plan. If we've got a good plan, a good understanding of our finance, the type of property we want to own and buy. I like it with property. Property makes sense to me. You guys know the drill. So there you go. Are you on track? You on track to fund the lifestyle that you want in the future? And, arguably, if you can bring forward, we're talking about this part, if you can bring forward this piece here. And I think this is kind of the takeaway from today, to be honest. See this bit here, this lifestyle bit? As an investor, well, the earlier you invest, the better. And there's a conversation in the Guy with Zero book about, not sacrificing some experiences that you can't enjoy later, earlier. You got to balance that up. But, this part's inevitable, folks. Retired and old is inevitable. It's inevitable. It's coming. No matter who you are, it's not being delayed. All right. But can we do something as we go along in this lifestyle phase, in this destination? All right. Can we? The answer is yes. All right. What are we going to do about it? What's the drill? Let's have a plan and a conversation around that. There you go. Anyway, Wealth Coffee Chat as we go. But yeah, exactly, Alison. You're building your equity. Your equity's building. You're building your salary. And I think the challenging part, and I certainly had this as well as a investor. Sometimes the patience, you run out of patience. You're like, come on, and then all of a sudden, telling you, you get a few investments, in your portfolio. You have one or two turns at a cycle, or a few things go your way, and then it picks up pace quite rapidly. So don't lose the faith, don't lose the momentum, and watch the 7-year itch. That's a real thing. Anyway, just rabbiting on now. You guys, thanks for joining me. Fantastic to see you again today. Join me tomorrow for another one. We'll catch up and talk all things property investing. If you've got any conversations, comments, concerns, pontifications, put them in the chat. I'll go and read them a bit later. Maybe we can talk about those on a Wealth Coffee Chat as well. But that's it from me, folks. You guys know the drill. This thing's a marathon, not a sprint. Takes time, but you will get there with a bit of a plan and some consistency. It's certainly high on the likelihood list when it comes to your destination. So make sure you stick with it. Buy a good few properties and don't bloody sell them. That's the drill. Anyway, there you go. All right, folks. You guys take care. That's it from me. See you tomorrow. Bye for now.